President Biden and congressional leaders met today to work on a solution towards averting a government shutdown. Meanwhile, some Americans, including military families, are bracing for what happens if Washington can't get a deal done in time.
Families are living paycheck to paycheck. They're not planning months and years into the future. So families are making decisions right now about, do we buy groceries this week? Do we wait for what's going to happen next week?
The wife of a U.S. Marine Corps veteran channeling lots of people's concerns, Nikole Killion, CBS News congressional correspondent. Feels like they have to get something done soon, like very soon, before Friday.
Yeah, but you can't tell that that's happening because we still haven't seen a bill, right? Which, if they need to get it done by Friday, we would need to see a bill today, and we don't have one. Leader Jeffries, who was also part of this meeting with congressional leaders and the president, did just put out a Dear Colleague letter saying, that they are committed to working around the clock to try to avoid a shutdown. Everybody's saying the right things, whether that's Speaker Johnson, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, that they want to avoid it. But again, unclear how you do that if we haven't seen any text.
Everybody said they want a deal must get done. Do you have a sense, I'm struggling to find it, what the issues are that they're still negotiating, or what the issues are that may still be in dispute?
Well, a lot of this stems from the issue at hand, which is the whole point of this exercise and these continued extensions in terms of the funding is that ideally, if Congress is working as it should, they should be passing 12 appropriations bills on an annual basis. That has not happened for some time. And so there was a process put in place, in part from that debt limit deal that we saw last spring, to try to force that process to move forward. But at each and every turn, when it's time to have these bills in hand, they're not ready. And so that's what brings us to this March 1st and March 8th deadline, respectively, because technically we should have appropriations bills for some of these government agencies. Now, today, both Leader Schumer and Leader McConnell seem to suggest that some progress is being made kind of on those first four, which would affect, for instance, the Department of Agriculture, Housing, Veterans Affairs, and other agencies. But again, even if they come up with a deal sometime this week, they still may need some kind of temporary bridge or continuing resolution to get to the appropriations bills at hand. So that's where it's a little murky and unclear kind of what that next path or step could be.
The meeting also involved Ukraine aid. What did you make when Speaker Johnson walked out to speak to reporters without Mitch McConnell as his side, as is customary, where the party leadership would be in unison together?
Well, we do know that Speaker Johnson had a one-on-one meeting with President Biden at the White House following that meeting with congressional leaders. But Leader Schumer made clear that there was some tension around this issue of Ukraine during the meeting with the president. And the president himself said as much that, congressional inaction would make the situation in Ukraine dire. Their military equipment is being depleted. Obviously, they have been asking for aid for months. That is something that the White House has been pushing for months as well. We just, marked the 2-year anniversary of the war between Russia and Ukraine. So it is vital in the view of the White House and congressional Democrats and Republicans. But as you know, Scott, Speaker Johnson continues to be non-committal around this issue, particularly because he still believes that the border should be handled first, which we know was part of the supplemental package before it was taken out. So again, some real decisions have to be made on his part, more specifically about whether he'll at least give this an up or down vote.
All the while, they're juggling the potential impeachment trial of Alejandro Mayorkas and Hunter Biden all day tomorrow before the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Nikole Killion, we'll see you there.
All right. You as well.
Thank you very much.